What's going on, everybody? I'm SCHEELS Outdoors Pro, Josh Douglas, and I'm on a North Texas lake right now that I've never even been to before. The water temps are pretty cold in the mid 40s, so I'm not expecting the fish to exactly be chewing on a bait right away. The banks are also a little low. Texas is a little bit of a drought right now. So one thing that I think to find bass is going to be big time important is to find some sort of structure or stop signs off of the bank. One thing I'm going to do, and I fired up my Lowrance units here, and first thing is I'm going to look at my C map, and that's my mapping. That's my everything. I'm purely guessing. If I'm not looking at the bank, going down the bank, looking at targets to fish, then I'm guessing once you get out here offshore. So the map tells me everything. So I'm kind of hanging around some we're down closer to the dam area, kind of the wintry type areas, but looking towards where these fish are going to want to progress to in the spring. One thing I noticed right away when I was looking at my C map was foundations under the water. They're marked pretty clearly. Little black squares here indicate that it's a foundation. I'm going to get out, I'm going to idle around there, and I'm going to start putting my equipment to use. First thing is, again, the map. Secondly, I'm going to switch it over to the structure scan, my side imaging, just to get around it. When I'm sitting here at the steering wheel, I'm using what's in front of me to educate me on where the best place is to find some good targets to fish. So that's first. Let's get to it. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is once I'm looking around, you can see here on the screen, these are foundations. It says clear as day on my C map that it's a foundation. Here's a small one right here. All these are just old buildings or houses where, at one time before this was a flooded out reservoir where people lived. So a lot of times it's going to be looking over a cliff or a river channel or something where they had access to water. You can see a couple of fish here, but so this is my main setup. I'm going to have my map and my traditional sonar here, and then over here I'm looking at my structure scan and then my down scan. For me, I like to keep these units spread apart so that I can get most functionality out of my 12-inch screens. Whatever size screen you can afford is going to be your better option. You're going to be able to see a lot more detail on them. At the same time, if my significant other is okay with it, this is how I make my money. At the same time, not everybody can have 4 or 5 drafts on their boat, and Lowrance makes that real easy. You can, real simply, I can go into here, into my menu, I can adjust my splits, I can move this type of stuff around, I can pick a new template and fit more stuff into just one unit. So you have both options, but for me, I keep them split apart so that I get full functionality out of all these units. All right, here's a perfect little, it's not the biggest foundation that I've ever seen in the world, but at the same time, you can see there's a couple of them here. And you can see the old rubble right here. If I kind of zoom in on this, you can see the old foundation of what was there for the house. Good depth range between 10 and 15 feet. And what I really like about a spot like this is you got main lake out here and a big point. It's full of timber on this side, a lot of structure, a lot of cover for those fish to want to hang on, and a good temperamental area for those fish just to kind of slide in and just wait now for spring to come and start warming it up before they start to push to the backs of these creeks. So I think this is a good spot to make a few casts. We'll use that target, see if there's anything around it, and then we'll just keep moving. Okay, you can see here now I'm up at the deck of the boat. I got my trolling motor down. Basically the foundation that I found, it looks like there was 2 of them here. I marked it right here as a little house. That's something really convenient about Lowrance electronics, is that you can use different icons for different things. For weeds you can make it be grass, for foundations, rock piles. These right here are some of the old foundation. So I'm shooting out at 100 feet with my active target and just sitting over that rubble. You can just kind of see the old rubble from the foundation that was sitting there. And there's one fish that's all standing timber. I can't hardly see him. One fish right there. And there goes my bait, and he's right there. I'm trying to move it towards him, see if I can get a reaction out of him. One thing that I find hugely important is understanding the predator-prey relationship that we have with these fish. That's one thing I've learned about forward sonar. My active target is how loud we can be in the boat. and how badly effective that'll be against the fish that you're chasing. They hear that stuff, they're not dumb, they know their environment. The noise we make in the boat, I thought my dad was full of it when I was coming up as a kid, telling me to be quiet in the boat. Maybe I was talking too much at the same time. Maybe he was onto something, because all the years that I've spent fishing before I had forward-facing sonar, obviously I knew I had to be stealthy, but at the same time, there's a lot that goes into it. One little trick I like to do is stopping my sonar. I just did it up there. The only one I have on up there right now is the active target, the forward sonar, and that's showing me what's under the boat, what's in front of the boat, everything. But Lowrance makes it real easy. Right now I have my sonar, my structure scan still running from when I was idling around. I'm just these keys are hot keys, and I have them set to stop sonar. And what that'll do is that does a couple of things. One, I'm not sitting right here, so I don't need my sonar on. I'm not utilizing it. I'm utilizing the front of the boat. And so what it'll do is it'll, one, clean up a little bit of interference. Lowrance is real good with that in the first place with having multiple sonars, but it'll still clear up just a little bit. And at the same time though, all that tick, 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 tick that comes off those transducers, that is 1, 2, 3 transducers that I just shut off the boat. The only thing I have running right now is just the active target. As soon as I'm done fishing the spot and I go to look for another spot, all I gotta do is pull the trolling motor up, sit here, hit these 2 buttons, and bam, my sonar's back on and running, and I'm going back to finding some fish. Well, that's it. That's my setup. That's how I get out there and I find and locate and catch bass. For more information like that, definitely check out all of our social channels, SCHEELS Outdoors, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check out mine, Josh Douglas Fishing. And of course, at any time, stop by one of the stores and talk to our experts today.